In Brasilia, Brazil's capital, last week, indigenous groups expressed their dissatisfaction with the PEC 215, a proposed constitutional amendment that they believe endangers their lands and their way of living. In the Brazilian Congress, there is a parliamentary group consisting of 160 deputies and 29 senators, known as Rural Workbench. In Portuguese, Bancada Ruralista. On 2012, the group proposed the 215 constitutional amendment, the PEC 215, which intends to delegate exclusively to Congress the duty of demarcation of indigenous territories, as well as the ratification of land already approved. Currently, the motion is being discussed. In October 1988, Brazil promulgated its federal constitution after 20 years of a regime imposed by the military dictatorship. The 1988 constitution became known as the Social Constitution and definitely ended the dictatorship period. This contributed with major progress in the social field, such as its commitment to the protection and demarcation of indigenous territories. Anthropologist Antonio Carlos de Souza Lima is a well-respected figure. He has been a researcher and scholar for 34 years. He's an specialist in indigenous policy and anthropology. He believes the association of agro-money and politics threatens the indigenous lands.
Os índios fazem parte do contexto contemporâneo, não estão parando ou deixando de parar o desenvolvimento. Agora, eles têm direitos. Ou a gente considera que a gente vive num país de direitos, que a Constituição brasileira estabeleceu um conjunto de direitos, considerando as diferenças étnicas nesse país. E esses direitos não podem ser simplesmente soterrados por argumentos desenvolvimentistas visivelmente comprometidos com o lucro de uns em detrimento do bem-estar da maioria, né? Não apenas dos índios, também de todos nós.
According to the 1988 Constitution, the state is the competent body to mark and protect the land occupied by indigenous population. This historical right is currently threatened. Currently, the demarcation of territories requires anthropological reports, technical studies, subsequent approval by the Ministry of Justice, and finally, the President's homologation.
Veja, tudo isso é mundo capitalista, né? Tudo isso significa o triunfo de certos interesses, de certo capital. Por que não se pega e não se plota uma usina dessas em meio a terras do agronegócio? Acho que essa é uma questão que se deveria perguntar, não se pergunta. Então, tudo é para produzir soja para a China, com dinheiro chinês e testas de ferro brasileiros?
With the approval of the PEC 215, it will be easier for agribusiness to appropriate ancestral lands, since the responsibility for the protection of natural heritage will be in the hands of Brazil's Congress. Acting in solidarity with the indigenous fight, a group of activists of Greenpeace Brazil hanged a giant banner under the national flag in Brasilia's government complex. They too are worried about the disappearance of the rainforest jungle, and evidence seems to be on their side. In this image by NASA, we can glimpse the rapid deforestation on the Amazon.
A resistência dos povos indígenas hoje, ela representa, né, o que é a resistência de todos os povos, talvez primitivo, talvez originário do mundo.
It's been widely reported that the parliamentarians that form the Rural Workbench have their campaigns financed by corporations. Profiting from deforestation and mineral exploitation, they work inside the Congress, in the direct defense of the interests of landowners, creating powerful agribusiness lobbies. Brazil is the world's second largest soybean producer. responsible for 26% of world production of this grain. Approximately 1 million hectares of Amazonian rainforest are deforested annually, and much of this deforestation gives land to soy production. José Urutao Guajajara is an indigenous scholar, but also a leader in the fight for their rights.
E nós estamos preservando isso aí, que foi a povoação do ser humano nessa parte das Américas, aí, segundo os estudos arqueológicos recentes agora, antropológicos, linguísticos, há pelo menos 40 mil anos, 50 mil anos de preservação. No mínimo. O que é preservar? Durante 40 mil anos no território uma terra. E aí vem a cultura dominante em menos de 200, 300 anos, esmerdalha com tudo isso, acaba com tudo isso.
The lands demarcated as indigenous territory guarantee the protection of the Amazon rainforest, limiting access and controlling the illegal exploitation of the territory. However, only 363 of the 1,046 territories occupied by indigenous populations are officially demarcated. The economic development is not measuring its environmental impact. The current economic model for agribusiness does not address sustainability, a concept that Brazil recently used to generate positive propaganda, when in 2012 the country hosted United Nations International Conference for Sustainable Development.
Se a história de certos povos ela não é trabalhada, ela não é destacada, ela não tem espaço dentro da cultura do país, então é até uma questão de sobrevivência cultural para esses povos. Então, historicamente no Brasil, o indígena ele foi forçado a se inserir nesse contexto, e nos dias de hoje, quando a gente vê essa luta dos indígenas pela defesa do seu modo de vida tradicional, isso realmente ele requer condições para que aconteça.
Enrique Alves, president of Brazil's Congress, postponed the first parliamentary session of PEC 215 and will form this week a group that will work on the creation of a consensual text for the constitutional amendment.
Nós precisamos criar um sistema em que toda a população tivesse voz dentro do parlamento, dentro do Supremo, que fosse pessoas de toda a classe.
President Dilma Rousseff announced by Twitter that she's contrary to PEC 215 and advised all parliamentarians allied to the government to vote against the proposal. The Brazilian indigenous join a long list of people displaced by or fighting against oil and mining mega projects. We still yet to see if they are successful in the fight of their lives, the one for survival, their heritage and their families. On a special report by Nerita Oeiras, for The Real News, this is Oscar Leon.